Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm John.
And I'm Kevin.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down.
Kevin, how are you, my brother?
My friend, I'm great. I'm enjoying my bourbons.
Yes.
What are we drinking? What do you got?
At this point, I think it's still the bottom. It's the dregs of the Eagle Rare. Right now, it's just like there are a couple of ice cubes in here, like just floating.
You knocked out some American Spirit whiskey Fiddler earlier.
We had some Fiddler.
We've
had some Bland's.
Yeah, it's been
Kentucky represent.
Productive night.
It has been. Well, but it has to be when we're getting through a movie of this magnitude. A masterpiece, really.
We're killing it. We're talking about Red Sonja, 1985. I don't even want to call it an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle.
Not anymore.
No, because he's not, it's not necessarily his show.
But, well, I mean, let's be honest. The last 15 minutes of this movie kind of are his show.
Feats of strength and grunts.
It's just it is like one long feat of strength, and for a movie that's not supposed to be an Arnold movie, it ends up being sort of an Arnold movie. But entertaining nonetheless.
Oh, dude, for sure.
Yeah.
You can't say this movie's not entertaining.
Yeah, it's great.
I'll kill you if you try.
I would never. All right, so when we last met, for a recap, our heroes were about to get into a fight with the machine,
You're
right?
stepping on my toes right now.
I'm just saying the machine, right?
Yeah, they tangled with the killing machine.
Right.
Basically, what's going on? We got Red Sonja, who's the hero of the story. Red Sonja, Kalidor, that's Schwarzenegger.
Right.
Prince Tarn and his manservant Falcon. They're trying to infiltrate the evil Queen Gedren's castle to get this talisman, the MacGuffin of the movie. It's the object that has the power to destroy the world, and it's getting really close to destroying the world.
No one knows how to use it.
No one knows how to use it or control it, but the good guys are trying to get it because they want to like neutralize it by hiding it in darkness, basically. And they've infiltrated Queen Gedren's castle, and they're like looking for it now.
You know what would have been cool? A 2-minute scene where some sorcerer or some hostage, high priestess, whatever, had been forced to show Gedren
How to use it?
It would have taken
sure.
It would have taken 2 minutes.
It's almost the thing, you get the impression that this thing just is destroying aimlessly.
Right.
Like,
but we know that it can be directed.
It seems that way.
The power can be directed.
So Sonja, Kalidor, and Falcon have entered the castle. They left Tarn outside to like watch the gate and stay out of trouble.
Right.
They've decided for some reason the best course of action is we should all split up.
That doesn't make sense because she's the only one that can touch it. But
That's
whatever.
what I'm saying. Imagine a world in which Falcon found the talisman.
What is he supposed to do? Just
now
shriek
what?
loudly?
Now he's got to go try to find Sonja or Kalidor.
And remember somehow where he's come from.
Yeah, why? They should have stuck together clearly.
Yeah.
But it's a way to, I guess, film shit without taxing Arnold too much.
Always take your friends on dangerous trips, I guess. So anyway, are we ready to pick up on the last exciting chapter?
Bring it.
All right, so the action picks up with Ikol Queen Gedren's lieutenant, slowly bumbling up a stairway, making a slow getaway with bags full of that gold that was sitting down in the coffers with no place to go.
That sweet, sweet booty.
That's right.
Ikol is like the only smart. This is like the smartest thing anyone's done in this whole movie.
Agreed. So he sticks his hand in a hole in the wall.
No, it was like the mouth of a face.
Oh, was it? Is the mouth of a face and activates some kind of switch that opens the massive butthole front gate.
Yeah, that big old butthole door.
Where thankfully Prince Tarn's been camping out.
Yeah.
Tarn recognizes Ikol, who he calls Gedren's black spider.
Which is weird because she has a spider. She has a literal spider.
Yeah, she has an actual spider, but whatever.
Sure.
So Tarn does some sword flourishes, but Ikol just kind of shoves him backward.
Yeah.
Tarn stands his ground and gets back in Ikol's grill, calling him out for deserting like a thief with Hablok's gold.
Endless sword displays from Tarn.
Just slash, slash, slash. Then he slashes Ikol's treasure sack, out of which pours Hablok's gold. Ikol seems amused by this and then calls Tarn's actions unmannerly and says that rude little boys need correction.
He was bringing that evil tote voice.
Oh, yeah.
In that moment. We are not thirsty.
Oh, yeah.
That shit, like, let me show you what I am used to.
I love it. Yeah, he flings the empty sack at Tarn, draws his sword, and starts a-swinging. They fight.
He tried to lull him to sleep.
Yeah, he did.
It was like, yeah!
Yeah, he so they fight for a moment, but Ikol disarms the prince. Ikol's got some skills.
Well, and Tarn is he's got kid strength.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, you just grab the sword and yank it out of his hand.
Right. So after some jawing, Ikol comes at Tarn, but the prince beats ass with his mini femur club.
Yeah.
And disarms Ikol using the same trick that Sonja used on him earlier in the movie.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so as Ikol like lunges, Tarn just like grabs the sword and hits him with the club.
Okay.
So the prince holds Ikol's sword to the guy's throat and gives him one last opportunity to yield.
Come on, Tarn. The time has passed for all this shit.
But Ikol slaps the sword away.
He like straight slaps him in the face.
Slaps Tarn in the face and then shoves him down and makes a run for it. As he starts to run, there's a quake from the castle destroying via talisman power, and it causes Ikol to stumble. Tarn sees his moment, throws the sword at the mouth. Well, he throws it at Ikol.
Was he trying to hit Ikol?
I think he's throwing it at Ikol, but misses. However, luckily, he hits the secret lever that seals the butthole gate. So as Ikol makes a last-ditch effort to escape, he trips, falls in the gateway, and then screams in agony as he's crushed by the gate.
That was a fucked up way to die.
I remembered that whole fight sequence like moment for moment.
It like slowly rolled up his legs.
It was like some Wicked Witch shit. I remember that big time.
I hope I have the name of the movie right. I think there was a movie called Beast that came out like in the 80s. It was like a Russian tank crew in Afghanistan.
Ooh, okay.
And
that sounds intriguing, especially given current.
And there was
events.
and the dude, I think it was American. It was like English speakers, whatever. But I feel like the dude who was like the tank commander was like an evil bastard. And they had someone captive or some shit like that. And were trying to make him talk. And they like laid the dude down in front of the tank and like slowly rolled the tank up his legs. And like, it's like, fuck that. I know nothing about that movie except that shit stuck with me because that's so fucked up.
Oh, that's grim.
But this is
big
similar.
Time grim.
Like,
yeah,
imagine being slowly crushed from your feet.
Well, it's like
you would live until it probably got to your chest.
It's like what we were talking about in Temple of Doom, where fucking slave drivers like holding on to the scarf.
Oh,
and like
totally,
and like getting
fucking Pat
pulled
Roach.
down in the Pat Roach getting pulled down in the rock crusher. That's oof, don't like it. I mean, that happens in every Indiana Jones movie, though.
Someone gets slowly like, the dude went in the propeller.
Well, and in the tank, he falls off the thing. Crusade. But then there are also guys that get run over in Last Crusade. So anyway, Tarn, after Ikol's dead, he picks a direction and decides to run deeper in the castle. he does a risky business slide in a hallway and
Sure.
and just happens upon the throne room where Gedren's handmaiden's sitting all alone.
Yeah.
Hey,
there was
girl.
this weird, like, sort of behind Tarn was this, like, sculpture, basically. It was like a mobile with these gilded skeletons hanging from it. It looked like a tree with skeletons.
So
It was
weird.
odd.
Yeah, it's very odd. So the prince demands to know where Gedren is. The handmaiden says she's gone and begs Tarn to protect her.
Feels pretty
Yeah.
trappish.
Tarn, like, marches into the room triumphantly, but Gedren pops out and, like, grabs him.
At first, I will say, I thought the handmaiden was, like, maybe was being held against her will.
Yeah, Gedren told her to do that.
You know? Like, and that maybe this chick was just, like, a horrendous actress.
That's what, the vibe
now it's like, oh, I think she was acting at hammy, like, bad acting on purpose.
the vibe that I've gotten from Handmaid throughout the whole movie is that she is uneasy about being finger banged by
I couldn't
Gedren.
tell if she's into it or not.
I think she is not into it, and that Gedren told Handmaiden to do this thing that she didn't necessarily want. I think Handmaiden's just like, I don't want to be here. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I just don't want to be here. So
she's not, like, in love with Gedren
no,
in your mind.
no,
Okay, cool.
not at all. So cut to elsewhere in the castle. Sonja's still running around frantically looking for the Gedren and the talisman. Clearly, she chose the shittiest, most convoluted path around the castle. She comes to a stop. Camera comes in close, and she just screams, Gedren! Where are you?
I thought she was pretty good at making that face, like a sort of fearsome face, but she just wasn't a great actress.
Yeah, agreed. We cut back to the throne room. Gedren's holding a dagger to Tarn's throat and demanding to know how many are with him. At that moment...
Wait. Wasn't she, like, she's been watching this all on her whatever vision.
One would think. I don't know how the whatever vision works. We should mention that, like, earlier in the film,
she saw there were 3 people. Last time
she's got a big screen TV operated by magic powers that she can sometimes see what's happening, but then other times apparently inexplicably cannot tell what's happening.
Yeah, it was odd.
So at that moment, Sonja materializes from behind the throne.
She just pops out of nowhere.
The castle's layout is wacky. So she announces her presence. Gedren threatens Tarn's life and says that Havelock's about to lose the heir to its throne. Sonja says Gedren's about to lose her own throne unless they pack the talisman up and call it a day. Mm-hmm. At that moment, a huge tremor shakes the castle. A big crack opens up in the floor.
That was a fucking elaborate set.
It was
awesome.
The set is unreal good. The tremor causes Gedren to fall backward and Tarn to fall forward. So Tarn's free now. Gedren, as she's falling backward, finds a sword conveniently leaning against the wall. Sonja tells Tarn to take the secret passage behind the throne and go find Kalidor and Falcon.
Yeah.
Gedren's handmaiden is like, fuck this, and scoots out. She's like, bye.
She boogied out?
She bolts. She's like, bye.
She's seen enough.
So alone in the throne room now, Gedren tells Sonja they could have ruled the world together, but now she's going to rule alone and Sonja will die for what she did to Gedren.
So
for the face thing?
That's what I want to ask. Is she mad because of the face?
Spurned lover?
Or is she mad, because of the rejection?
Gene Siskel said, in a world where plastic surgery existed, this movie wouldn't have happened.
That's what it was simply about the scar?
She's super vain.
I think
she's deeply shallow.
I want to believe it was about you rejected me and like I can't let that go.
But is that more or less fucked up than you scratched my face? Maybe a little more. Maybe a little less, actually.
No, what's truly fucked up is like has Gedren gone so mad that she can't see that like the castle is fucking literally crumbling down around.
No, I think
they're all gonna die.
I think that she's like, I can get down to the basement and do something that's gonna stop this. I think she's totally of that mindset. She thinks she's in total control of the god device.
That's where Sonja's like, you slaughtered my family, and she's like, fucking big whoop! Look what you did to my face.
Yeah, that's like tit for tat, I guess. I don't know. So yeah.
That was some harsh shit. It reminded me of...
your family are vermin. Look at this scratch on my face.
It reminded me of Joe Pesci in Goodfellas when he's talking about Spider and he's like, their whole family, they was all rats. He probably would have grown up to be a rat.
It's rough. So Sonja tells Gedren she's insane, damn Skippy, and that the talisman's going to destroy her and everyone else. I love the music starting to ramp up into battle mode.
Oh, nice.
I love this wide shot of the two of them like stepping toward each other with swords drawn and they begin to circle. That shot's badass. Very, very cool. And then they start fighting.
I feel like Sandahl Bergman still had like some leftover Conan the Barbarian like training in her.
Big time.
She was a badass.
The way that she approached with the sword, I was like, wow, she looks like she knows what she's doing. Gedren has some skill, but Sonja overpowers her and knocks her down. A huge tremor gives Gedren time to get away, but she knows she's in trouble. She tries to run, but Sonja is like right on her heels.
I mean, Sonja, as far as we know, she's the most skilled sword fighter in the world, right?
In this world, in this region, yeah.
So yeah, it stands to reckon like you're gonna whip
absolutely.
Queen Gedren's ass.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure.
So Gedren runs to the magical viewing device from earlier. She stands in front of it. Sonja takes a big swing, but the sorcerer, who's apparently been there the whole time,
he's just been chilling,
does a quick spell, and Gedren disappears and reappears up on a ledge on the other side of the room.
Dude is
How does that fucking thing work?
He's been hanging out with his potions.
I wish when the music had ramped up, it'd cut over to him and he'd been like with his hands on his headphones, like do.
Him and his fucking like muscle bound gimp
like,
that he's got with him.
Yeah, he should have had him on a chain. Yeah. So Sonja runs up the staircase towards Gedren, makes a move to stab, but the sorcerer does his thing again and transport Gedren back down to the center of the room where she was, where she starts laughing her ass off.
Dude, there's something so hot to me about evil chicks. Like in life, you know that.
Yeah,
you know that about me.
I know this.
Yeah, it's a problem.
She thinks this is hysterical, and I guess we'll all just die while Sonja runs around and Gedren magically zips around the room.
That's another moment where Sonja like flips off that ledge, and I'm 99% sure it was like an Italian diver, like a man.
That stunt fucks hard though. It's badass looking.
I was trying my best on Amazon to like pause and like advance frame by frame.
Same. I was trying to do that because
that's definitely like
they found an amazing stunt person,
a very slender man, I think is what it was. Like but he had big shoulders and big arms.
The flip is massive. It looks amazing. So suddenly, a miscellaneous goon who we reckon is maybe the guy who was assigned to magically move the TV earlier in the movie.
That's what I think. I think it's the Wizard's Gimp.
Wizard's Gimp. He appears and I love that he does this like one hop jump and grabs Sonja, and she like just like turns around and kills the dude.
She killed him so fast we never even got to see his face.
He's an electrician. He doesn't have the skills. So as Sonja stalks toward Gedren, the sorcerer throws some more spell shit around, transports the queen to her throne, but
which was like 10 feet away.
So does Gedren know where he's sending her? Because she would have had to have been prepared to land in her throne, to like just land with her legs crossed and like one hand.
She was like
in
in
a
sexy pose.
She was in
wasn't
a pose.
She?
Like,
that's a good call.
I don't know. Is there some? He's like sending you to your throne.
She didn't
calling thrones and go thrones. So it's like, yeah, she lands in like some sexy sitting position. Anyway, as Sonja makes her way up to the dais, the sorcerer slashes a plate in front of him on his potion table with his dagger, and a cut appears in Sonja's shoulder. So apparently he knows voodoo.
That's like, that should have been the first shit he did.
Start with that.
Slash her throat.
Yeah, movie over. Done. She conquers whatever city-state. Gedren wins. So anyway, he does it again, and another cut appears on Sonja's thigh. The cuts look rowdy. Good makeup effect.
Yeah.
Gedren looks amused by all this, just up there rocking around in her throne as the world literally falls down around her.
She was into it.
Yeah, she's like, but then, did you notice, like an idiot, she gives this like sideways glance toward the sorcerer.
Is that when Sonja noticed the sorcerer?
So Gedren's smiling at Sonja, then looks sideways, like off stage left, and then Sonja's like, what's over there? And then finally spots the magician, the sorcerer, but I love the dude's like, he like jumps, he's like, oh shit, she's seen me.
Seen.
Fuck. So Sonja runs over, wrecks the potion table, then rounds on him. He's so frightened he makes no attempt to fight or run.
Gedren, I thought, like, she looked like she was getting off on this.
She was getting off, but also, like, I don't think she was worried until after Sonja cuts the dude's head off. Another flying head in the air.
Flying in the air.
Love that. And it's at this point that Gedren's like, oh. And she's like, sort of like perched in her chair, like, oh, I didn't think that was going to happen.
It was like a delayed realization of like, oh, shit.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. So she jumps up from her throne, makes a run for it. Sonja follows. Elsewhere, Kalidor and Falcon have found each other. Thank God.
Again.
Yeah. Tarn does another risky business slide, sees them, and then it's like, hey, follow me.
Follow me.
So cut back to the ladies. Gedren reaches the Chamber of Lights. You remember it's like a room full of candles.
Right.
She pulls a lever to close a gate over the entrance, but Sonja arrives just in time to roll under it.
Fucking great opportunity for Gedren to just hack her when she's on the ground.
Why not be there ready to just swipe? So anyway, they begin dueling again, but now, for some reason, it seems more evenly matched than before. Like, Gedren's getting as good as she's getting.
And I thought, like, could Gedren not use the talisman in some way to kill her?
Like, why wasn't she in there with the talisman in hand and just like kill Sonja? And that would be
maybe I don't know. Maybe it doesn't work that way. Maybe it's only like just broad destruction.
Maybe it's only storms and earthquakes.
I guess so. Can you strike her with a lightning bolt or some shit?
I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, Kalidor, Tarn, and Falcon are drawn to the sounds of battle. They reach the gate and see Sonja and Gedren battling inside. Kalidor, this part,
Sonja, over here,
like
here,
yelling at Sonja, trying to get her attention, like she's not the busiest person on his team.
She's a little,
like,
she's like,
what the fuck, man? Can you,
Sonja,
hey,
over
come
here,
over here, open the door. Come on, Kalidor. Anyway, Kalidor yells at Falcon, it's like, help me open the gate. So they lift it enough for Tarn to slide underneath. Rather than pull the lever...
I felt pretty sure that Tarn could have just fit through the lattice work of the gate.
They could have stuffed him through at least.
Yeah.
So rather than pull the lever to open the gate, Tarn screams, death to all tyrants! Does some more sword flourishing and then runs toward the fight.
He was on his John Wilkes Booth shit.
He was. Sic semper tyrannis. So at that moment, a tremor opens a big crack in the center of the room, and of course, Tarn nearly falls in. The floor starts to buckle from the quake. Gedren and Sonja are both knocked off their feet. As she falls, Sonja whacks the shit out of her head.
Yeah, that was a big bump she took.
She's like having trouble getting it together. Kalidor and Falcon continue to try to lift the gate, while Tarn... He's now somehow trapped under some rubble.
Do you reckon the gate's really heavy, or is it like a mechanism's holding it closed?
Both. I think it's probably made of some metal, and then there's also some counterweight pushing down on it.
Okay.
So there's some mechanical contrivance that's making it hard to lift. So, like, Tarn is yelling, Sonja, help me!
He's become, like, trapped under some rubble.
Yeah, like a candelabra fell on him or something. Gedren manages to get to her feet, finds her sword, and starts to very, very slowly make her way toward the dazed Sonja.
Sonja, behind you!
Yeah, Tarn sees it's like, bitch, look! Sonja finally finds her feet. Like, as soon as she looks up and sees Gedren, it's like adrenaline kicks in. She jumps up, grabs her sword, and the fight continues.
I felt like Sonja's like, she's pissed off now.
Yeah, Gedren was taking her sweet-ass time. Like, get over there with a quickness. Anyway... Sonja starts wailing. This part's awesome. Like, Sonja's just like unrelenting, wailing away against a now completely outmatched Gedren. Like, all of a sudden, Gedren can only like hold the sword up and block.
Yeah,
and like just basically getting. It reminds me of the scene at the end of Karate Kid 2 where Chosen can just like sit there and take the blows as they're coming from Daniel.
I also thought about when Luke was wailing on Darth Vader in Return. Jedi.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Just all you can do is kind of hold the lightsaber there. So Sonja keeps at it. She keeps coming until she breaks Gedren's sword.
Yeah.
And then stabs her through the heart because that's her move.
Gedren looked like in shock or like heartbroken about how things have played out here.
She falls into the chasm in the floor, which seems to open into a lava river.
The hot lava, the magma.
So end the days of Gedren. Very the one like Gollum into Mount Doom. But anyway, like Sonja,
it made me wonder. Like, I wonder who was the first person to realize that like watching the bad guy fall from a great height is like such a cathartic ending. Because it happens in so many movies. I just wonder when that was like, oh, the visual of that is great.
The visual of it, but more importantly, is because it's better to watch them be destroyed than to be like, did they die?
Yeah.
They're like, I want to watch them. I want to make sure that happened.
It's not in an instant. It's like you get a few seconds of like,
yeah, it took Gedren a while to fall.
Hans Gruber type shit.
Yes, exactly.
The Emperor.
I love that Sonja sort of skips the chasm like it's nothing. Takes the talisman off its pedestal and tosses it down into the lava.
I'm not so sure the lava would count as darkness.
If anything, it's more light.
It's like the candlelight was giving this thing energy. I feel like
it'd be like an atom bomb, maybe.
Well,
anyway,
there is this huge energy.
Right.
Like the destruction continues.
It's sort of like when the Emperor hits the core of the Death Star and like explodes. So there seems to be a big energy release as the talisman hits the lava. There are explosions and bright flashes. Sonja manages to help Tarn free himself. Kalidor and Falcon lift the gate enough for Tarn to slide under.
Again, why didn't they open the gate from the inside?
I don't know.
And it made me wonder, there had to be a way to open it, right?
Yeah.
Like Gedren wasn't planning to just be trapped in there forever.
No. So it seems like the gate's not open wide enough for Sonja to fit under. So Kalidor's solution is that he's going to hold the gate himself. To this point, he hasn't been able to lift it by himself.
Yeah.
While Falcon pulls Sonja through. Feat of strength number. I'm going to start a list right now. So this is finale feat of strength number 1.
But it's like, surely if you can hold it by yourself, then the two of you could lift it a little higher.
Yeah, much higher. So Sonja squeaks through. This is also another example of her being in need of a man's help. We also see the entire castle seems to be imploding. The main tower is exploding on the outside.
Not the best model work I've ever seen.
This part looks cheap because it looks like some fiberglass just like breaking apart. The good guys run for it as the castle's falling down around them. As they're running, we see this like beam falling. Kalidor runs up, stands under it, braces the broken beam with his shoulders. The others pass under it. Feat of strength number 2, sloth love chunk.
They were deliberate walking under it. They were like, we're taking our sweet time.
And it was Arnold straining with all his might to make his veins bulge.
Dude, it was like the most constipated face you've ever seen. It was like some Samson or like Hercules type shit.
As soon as he steps aside, the beam and the ceiling above it collapse. Outside, we get more shots of the castle tower exploding, a la Barad-dûr in Return of the King.
Nice.
Inside, Tarn leads the way back toward the main gate, but there's collapsed rubble blocking the way. I love that Falcon's like, how do you know? And Tarn's like, this is the way I came in, you clown.
you stupid oaf.
Thankfully, Kalidor is able to perform his third feat of strength in the past 45 seconds.
Nice.
And moves a big stone block that opens the way through. Once clear of this, they reach the gate, but the gate's still sealed.
Also still looking like a sphincter.
Still like a big asshole. Kalidor and Falcon try to push it open, but to no avail. Tarn says...
Wait, dude, you already tried to push this
you
gate.
Did this once before.
You know you can't move this shit. It's not lighter from the inside than the outside.
Maybe, I don't know. So Tarn's like, wait, I know how to do this, and like crawls back under the rubble, which collapses immediately behind him.
Right. So
he pulls the sword out, which he threw earlier to activate the counter lever that crushed Ikol.
And then, did they step over the
That's what I'm wondering. It's like on the way out. I want to know the same question. So he pulls the sword out and flicks the switch, which causes the gate to start opening back up. Great for everyone except for Tarn, who's trapped on the other side.
He's like still berating.
Yeah. Go, Falcon. You fucking idiot. Like,
yeah, you big stupid.
Oaf. Yeah. Probably calls him an oaf. He's like telling the others to leave. Instead, Kalidor performs his fourth feat of strength and lifts the entire pile of rubble with relative ease,
Yes.
which allows Falcon to drag Tarn through unscathed.
That was the shit that had me like, if you can lift this, that gate should have been a piece of cake.
Yeah, it's like you should have been in the castle an hour ago and like sneaking up on Gedren, like no problem. Anyway, as the foursome run through the butthole gate, the castle
stepping over the corpse of Ikol, I guess.
Actually, Ikol, yeah, I called him Ikol earlier. Ikol. The castle completely explodes and a plume of fire shoots up from the remains of the building.
I feel like this is like the talisman doing its thing. Like it's not lost its power.
Right. It's still down there. So like eventually the earth will collapse in on it.
And it would be dark.
When thinks, and then it'll be.
I guess
It'll drain like a battery. So later on, they're all riding away. Sonja points out that Prince Tarn and Falcon need to head back in the direction of Havelock.
They knew the way, don't they?
It's like, bitch, like it's right over there. There's probably still smoke rising from the ruins. This is only like a week ago. Tarn tells her, "Hey girl, come visit sometime. Also, I'm going to need a queen one day." Kalidor's like, "Choose carefully and make it a rule to never," he says, "choose carefully." And then he says, "I personally make it a rule to never take a woman unless she can defeat me in a fair fight." Oh,
callback.
Yeah. So Sonja's like, "That's a challenge I might have to think about someday."
Fuck, that was a weird, awkward delivery.
That's
a challenge I might think about someday.
That was her worst delivery of the entire movie, in my opinion.
This is kind of over now, so I'll mention it. But I was like briefly dating this woman who was like from Kazakhstan. And she would talk kind of like this, where it was just clear, like, you're doing the best you can.
I've learned these phrases in English.
Well, that's a challenge I might think about someday. Oh, okay. Sure enough.
Yeah.
Sure enough, babe.
You have to give props to them for learning the language.
Yeah. No doubt.
But also, it's like it makes the encounter disingenuous.
Yes.
So Kalidor says, "All right, let's do it now." Dismounts, draws his sword, grinning like a fucking idiot.
Yes.
Sonja's like, "Sure, why not?" and does the same.
Fuck. Are you fuckers not worn out?
They've been nonstop fighting for 14 hours.
14 days.
Yeah. So Falcon smiles and rolls his eyes as the two begin to circle each other. They trade a few blows, but then immediately they like start making out.
I feel like Falcon's like all of us. He's like, just fuck each other.
Tarn's like, I've seen enough. Let's go home.
They're smooching it up, and it's a fucking like kind of an awkward. There was no passion there.
No.
They just like mashed their faces together.
Yeah, I gotta like. I don't think that Arnold, for all of Arnold's charisma, I feel like he's probably not like a great on-screen kiss.
Yeah, because behind the scenes, the two were fucking apparently.
Yeah, well, yeah, naturally, but I feel like as soon like on screen, like I feel like it does something to you.
Yeah,
where Arnold's probably trying to think actor, trying to think charisma, trying to think all the movies he's watched before. Like it can't come across. I feel like in Arnold's mind, he's probably like, it can't come across too crass. Also, she's 21. Like, who knows?
That's facts. He was probably mid-30s.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of weirdness. So, Tarn and Falcon ride off in the sunset as Sonja and Kalidor continue to make out and roll credits.
Facts. That was quick. They made with the efficient 80s ending, like just fucking roll credits.
But I love the pullback wide shot again of like this moor wherever they are with the horses there and like they're making out and the fog in the background. Like they did a great job with the natural surroundings where they were filming. Like
I wonder what part of Italy that is. I don't know. You've been to Italy. I haven't.
It has to be somewhere in the Piedmont or the Marche. Like
is that like the northern half?
Like so the Apennines like run down. So it'd have to be like they sort of run down the middle of the country. So it had like I would say more north though, like getting closer to Lake Country and Dolomites.
Because the south is sort of like arid, right?
I would like, I mean, the south is much more like warmer, drier.
Okay.
not tropical climate, but like stereotypical Mediterranean climate.
Yeah.
And the north is more temperate, mountainous. You're going to get fog, things like that. Listeners, just so you know, we don't know exactly where this was filmed, so don't hate at us for not knowing exactly where it was. All we know, it was
Italy.
It looked like, but it looked like it could have been York or Scotland or something like that because of the way the atmosphere was conjured. At least
the internet leads me to believe it was Italy.
Yeah.
I know the original Conan, I think, was filmed in Spain.
Okay.
But this, according to the internet, was Italy somewhere.
There are places where that is not hard for me to believe, and I've spent some time in some of those places. Should we get into some facts about this movie?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. The budget for this movie, close to $18 million.
Yeah, I bet you that was higher than like the original Conan the Barbarian and other films. It was viewed as a bomb, right?
Did not even break $7 million.
Well, that was in the U.S.
In the U.S.
That I couldn't find any information about global,
the worldwide box office. We have to assume though it probably
this definitely got an international release.
Yeah, had to have, and I feel like in Europe it would have been a big thing, especially because it has a very international flair to it.
Yeah, so I bet you it did okay.
I bet it broke even,
but it wasn't a blockbuster by any means.
No, yeah. We mentioned this in an earlier episode. Said Arnold. It's the worst film I've ever made. I tell my kids that if they get out of line, they'll be forced to watch Red Sonja 10 times in a row.
Yeah, critics destroyed it.
Yeah.
I feel like if I was a kid seeing this movie in 85, I would have dug it. I would have been content, you know?
The great Leonard Maltin said it was, quote, spectacularly silly, and that Ennio Morricone's score was far better than a film like this one deserves.
That's probably true.
Ditto for the costumes and sets, he said. That's also true.
I read another critic review that said the acting was worse than words can explain.
But I would say that the brunt of that falls on Brigitte, and also as good as the actress that played Gedren was, she was not a powerhouse actress.
Yeah.
She was effective, but she was not.
She wasn't able to be grandiose. She couldn't channel that.
Now I want a Red Sonja remake.
Dude. Yes.
Big time.
The world, I was watching it and thinking oh, this is a movie that you could make now and it'd be badass.
How about Kate Blanchett as Gedren?
They've missed the window for yes, Kate Blanchett. I feel like they've missed the window for Charlize to be Red Sonja.
Charlize could be Gedren.
Yeah, she'd crush that shit.
She'd fucking crush it.
I don't know who is the modern who could play Red Sonja right now. I don't know.
There are there are a bunch of them.
There was
Brie
talk
Larson.
For a while. Remember, what's his name? Robert Rodriguez was trying to make this movie with Rose McGowan as Red Sonja.
What about the actress that played Kissed by Fire Maiden in Game of Thrones? Jon Snow's woman, the wildling
the redheaded.
Yeah, she could play her. Great actress. I'm so sorry.
Do you need someone who's 6 foot?
You don't. No, I don't think so.
Okay. I feel like that's what they were basing it on in 85 is we need someone who's tall.
I feel like you would want someone that's a little smaller, that appears smaller but mightier, but maybe that's just me.
I read in 85 when they were doing their casting, they tried to get Sigourney Weaver.
Interesting.
That's interesting, right? She would have been old.
I was about to say she would have been old to play the role.
But she had the height, I guess, and the gravitas.
If you're trying to,
she could have also been an awesome Gedren.
But that's the thing is Sigourney Weaver would have been an amazing Gedren. Still could be an amazing Gedren.
True.
I think that there are a lot of actresses that could play the role of Sonja. And I would watch it. And a lot of actors that could easily play the role of Kalidor in a much more and play him in a much more backup role.
Yeah. Because he's it's Arnold, so he ends up being the central figure.
I want to see Arnold as Falcon now.
Is he could play
that would be he has the comedic chops to do it.
I would say luckily this didn't really hurt Schwarzenegger's career. Like even as much of, I guess, of a disappointment.
That's the thing is, like, I feel like when people saw it, they probably weren't like, this movie sucks. They were probably like,
it's fine. This is what we expect. It was as good as Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah. I loved that Siskel and Ebert reviewed this movie in the same episode of their show as, in the same episode, they reviewed Back to the Future, Mad Max, and Silverado.
Oh, fuck. So they were like, oh, this is a piece of shit.
This was the bottom of the fucking barrel.
Okay.
The film, so they said the film is so inept, there are times when it's actually fun, especially when the actors struggle through dialogue that sounds like they've already read the Mad Magazine parody of the film. Yeah, Roger Ebert said, there are times during the movie when it was so ridiculous that I really did think it might be a satire of sword and sorcery. The way the movie respects the single greatest unwritten law of sword and sorcery movies, which is when the hero is surrounded by 36 enemies that always come at him one at a time, is like, that was ridiculous. And then Siskel said it was just bad movie making. And then he called out the Buddha that looked like it was taking a shit.
I feel like technically a lot of the people on the technical side of making this film obviously like were very skilled people.
Crushed it.
The costume, the hair and makeup folks, the cinematographer was off the hook. The filming.
I want to know how much were they hamstrung by bad acting or by like last minute script changes or weather? Like, what was the deal? What was holding them back? I feel like
they must have been rewriting it minute by minute to see how much they could milk out of Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, good call.
You know, because my understanding is that originally that character was meant to probably appear in like a couple of scenes. And then it was a situation where, you know, they did a lot more. But this shit, played nonstop on TBS.
Movies for guys who like movies. It was there.
Yeah, I read where like Dino, was searching, Dino de Laurentiis, that is, was searching high and low for the right actress to play Red Sonja. He offered the role to Sandahl Bergman, we mentioned earlier, offered it to, I think, Sigourney Weaver, whatever. But eventually, like, he saw this 21-year-old Brigitte Nielsen, was like, oh, damn, she's got the look,
She's got the touch.
But offered her the role. She never acted in anything before.
And it shows.
She was definitely not like a trained actress.
You know what, though? For someone who had never acted in a movie,
she did okay.
She did all right.
Like and not speaking her native language.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take that into account, right? It's like Van Damme. It's like, I bet you if he was acting in French, he could probably do a little better.
Brigitte Nielsen, she did a pretty damn good job for never having been in a movie. And this was supposed to be like, I guarantee the studio was like hoping it would be huge.
No doubt. It was, and I think it came out in the middle of summer. Like, it was expected to be a big hit.
Yeah. So, kudos, hats off to Brigitte for stepping into a high pressure situation. My last bit of trivia that I thought was interesting was that Paul Smith, Falcon, apparently had a black belt in Taekwondo.
Fucking shit. He was light on his feet.
That big man moves like a martial artist.
Yeah, dude, I believe it. I love that shit.
I thought that was super interesting.
Well, I saw where Brigitte Nielsen, I agree with you. It's harsh to like lay into her.
Oh, you can.
She's not an actress. She's not claiming to be fucking like Juilliard trained.
No.
Or anything like that. But she won the Razzie, if you can call it one. She won the Razzie for like worst new star in '85. She had this movie come out, and then Rocky IV came out at the end of the year.
Right.
And I thought she was fine, and she was fine in Rocky IV.
I thought she was great in Rocky IV.
Ice Queen type. Yeah. Whatever she was doing there. But yeah, we should talk about Schwarzenegger's involvement in this film.
Absolutely.
Because it's complicated, right? Like,
yes.
He had a deal with Dino. He was under contract to De Laurentiis, who was like, come on this movie and do it like a cameo. Do a cameo for me in the Red Sonja movie. And he's like, oh, Dino, I love you. You gave me my start. Yeah, of course I'll do it. And he signed up, I think, to do a week of work. And, was there for like a month. And Dino, like, he ends up being in half the movie, basically, right?
Right.
And I think that was like, that soured the relationship basically between him and Dino. He's like, because Dino didn't want to count that against his contract.
What?
He's like,
Dude,
no, this was
on.
a cameo. That's where they struck the deal, I think, that he'd do Raw deal, which we've talked about.
Right, yep.
And that would be the end of his contract with De Laurentiis. But then still Arnold, fucking class act, came through later when De Laurentiis was like going bankrupt and was like, you know what? The people at I think Coralco, like, let's buy the rights from De Laurentiis to Total Recall. Get him out of get him out from underwater or whatever it was, right? And like, I'll do that, and yeah, like, fucking stand up ass move.
We'll call it even. Yeah, Schwarzenegger is, I feel like, one of the last of a breed, maybe, of those kinds of stars.
Like old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think that he and, like, off the top of my head, like, Costner and Tom Cruise is probably the last, like, major studio
holdover from like the old days.
Yeah, from like the 70s, 80s.
Yeah. There was also Schwarzenegger and Brigitte had an affair on set.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Brigitte, good for her, man. I feel like she would fuck men. Like, she would be like, oh, I'm around Schwarzenegger, I'm attracted to him, like, I'm going to make him mine. Same with Stallone. I feel like, I bet you she fucked, no, maybe she didn't fuck Dolph Lundgren. We'll have to ask our friend with the, like,
yeah.
I must break this podcast if they had it going on. But
you know what? Like,
Schwarzenegger was dating already Maria Shriver at the time, but I think they've both sort of copped to the fact that, yeah, like, we were fooling around on set.
Yeah.
Brigitte Nielsen was like physically nearly a perfect constructed human.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Beautiful, like, bone structure, all that type shit was like flawless.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't a gifted actor. I'll forgive her for that.
I would say that she's like Van Damme or Schwarzenegger. She had good instincts, and if she'd been given more opportunities and taken less advantage of, and maybe made like,
and maybe could act
whatever,
in Danish or whatever the fuck language, she probably could have killed it.
Set her up for success and better situation.
So she did this movie, then I think went right into doing Rocky IV.
Mm-hmm.
She married Stallone after like a whirlwind romance. I think they were like married.
Is there what would their romance look like with Stallone? I don't
know how that worked out, but I think they married towards the end of '85. They were married for like 19 months, basically, and then they separated.
Amazing.
Yeah, she famously dated Flavor Flav for a hot minute. They met on some reality show.
Was it wasn't
Flavor of Love. I think it was the Surreal Life.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was like a bunch of B-level type celebrities living in a house together. But what an odd combo. But I think she also had like substance abuse problems, which happens.
Pretty well documented.
Probably could fall into that pretty easily if you're like given the world at a young age,
people
especially.
Like bringing it to you, literally.
Now she's currently married to a dude who's about our age. Yeah, she had a kid in 2018 at the age of 54.
Get it, girl.
That's fucking incredible to me.
That's awesome.
Good for her. I hope she's happy. I hope she's thriving. She turned up in Creed 2, which you probably, I don't know if you've seen that yet.
I haven't seen. No.
She looked good and she looked healthy again. So good for her. I hope she's doing well.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, basically,
she could play the High Priestess in Red Sonja the remake.
Dude, that would be badass.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
You know what? Or she could even play like the fucking the fairy of fucking
fairy
exposition.
The exposition fairy.
Yeah,
the blue fairy of vengeance.
Cool.
That'd be awesome.
She could even play like the mother of Red Sonja or something.
That'd be badass.
She gave her some more to work with. But there's been rumors of a reboot. I'd love to see it happen.
There should be, because this movie could be made much more effectively than the first round.
It's got a lot going for it. Yeah, like a strong like lore to it,
Yeah.
I feel like the time has come to like do this. Or what would crush it is this as a series.
Ooh, that would be awesome on Amazon or something like that.
Someone
that would
just
be
put some money
really
into
good.
it, Yeah,
make it a multi-episode thing. I would watch that. It'd be really good.
I'd be into it. She gets into the fucking adventures and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into it. So I think this is like an intellectual property that should be mined.
It should be, especially now.
Because
Like,
it hasn't been done well yet.
No,
That's the thing that gets me is like, if you're going to remake shit, remake something that you can make better.
agreed.
Like, don't make a new Conan the Barbarian movie because like that's the first one was great.
Did you watch the remake of Conan?
With Momoa? No,
Yeah.
I didn't see
Same.
it. I heard it was awful. I think I tried to watch it and I couldn't.
I don't think
I couldn't
didn't
make
even
it more
try.
than a few minutes.
Did not even try. No offense to Jason Momoa, I love him, but I'm like,
I feel like he's found his zone now. Like he was really good in Dune.
yeah, and he was really good as Khal Drogo.
Yeah, I feel like he Aquaman. I don't know.
Didn't see any of the. I didn't see a single DC movie yet. I know if you're listening,
They're
I'm
so-
sorry. It's just I mean to, but I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Nah, outside of the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, like they don't do a lot for me. Yeah, although the first Wonder Woman was badass.
That one I did see.
You did
That
see
one.
that?
That one was awesome. And
And-
I saw the first Henry. I saw Henry Cavill Superman, the first one, and I saw
That was bad though.
I saw the one where Doomsday killed Superman, and I was like,
Was that Justice League? No, was it Batman versus Superman?
Batman versus Superman.
Okay,
Which
that one was
I was
okay.
like, what the fuck? Like, that's the thing. These movies are so quick to blow their load. It's like, we need to get it all out. And it's like, Doomsday is a Superman killer. Why bring him out in this movie? Do something else. Anyway.
You know what was good, and you should go home and watch is Birds of Prey.
Ooh,
The Harley Quinn
I haven't
movie
watched
was
any of
really
that.
fucking solid.
All right, I'll check that out
And
soon.
Ewan McGregor fucking slays in that. It's like almost the best performance I've ever seen him give. Like
That's
he's
high praise.
incredible in that.
Who is he in that movie?
He is he plays Black Mask.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I
Awesome.
don't know much about that world. So I never heard of him. I heard of that villain from Gotham.
Yeah. He's just like an anti.
He gives such a good performance. It's fucking it'll blow your mind. Yeah.
He's a badass gangster.
Yeah.
He's sort of
yeah.
like a Red Skull, but not on an international level.
Yeah. I'm gonna fucking put that on to fall asleep
There
tonight.
you go. Well,
Anywho.
with that, man, we've talked circles around this.
Yeah, dude.
Have you guys
fucking
enjoyed it?
Red
Don't
Sonja.
care.
I hope so.
We hope you
did.
did.
We sure as shit
We
did.
we do care if you did. Let us hear about it.
Yeah, dude. Fucking find us. We're very underactive on social media.
We need to get
But,
better.
you
I need
know,
to be better about it.
If you want us to be more active, how about that? If you want us to be more active, fucking add us, tag us,
Hit us on the Facebook.
tell us
We're on
to
the
fucking
Twitter.
wake up.
In
We're
the
busy
meantime,
dudes, I
yeah.
guess, ish.
But we hope you enjoyed this. Again, shout out to all of our regular listeners. Just
Yeah, dude, we
that listen
fucking
to
love
old
you.
School.
And honestly, we're trying to we're not trying to fucking tout products and shit. We just want you to listen if you love these movies.
Yeah, man.
And if you love them, tell your friends who love them.
Yeah.
Because we're just trying to have a good time.
Have a
you
beer,
know?
listen along.
Yeah, dude. I love you guys. I love you, John.
I love you, brother.
I love these fucking horrible movies. And there's a million more of them. So,
So we're only getting started.
yes, we'll be back.